Today is Tuesday, September 17th. We'll tell you new details about the suspected gunman in the attempted assassination of former President Trump, what he did before Secret Service agents stopped him, and why there's now a debate over Secret Service funding. Also, what to know about a historic, sort of sneaky storm that dumped torrential rain on North Carolina. Plus, TikTok's day in court that could determine the app's fate in America. The biggest changes on Apple's latest iOS 18 now available. And GuacBots? Chipotle plans to bring robots to its restaurants. Those stories and even more news to know today, next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Court documents show the suspected gunman in an attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump was hiding near Trump's Florida golf course for about 12 hours before he was caught. Though apparently 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Ruth never actually had line of sight on Trump and never fired his weapon. Remember, a Secret Service agent spotted the barrel of a rifle sticking out of the tree line at the golf course and opened fire on the suspect Sunday. Ruth got away but was caught soon after. He's now been charged with federal gun crimes. He wasn't allowed to own a gun since he had already had a history of criminal convictions. And also of note, in a self-published book last year, Ruth reportedly wrote that Iran is, quote, free to assassinate Trump. And the Wall Street Journal is reporting that during his years as a pro-Ukraine activist, other Americans and aid groups flagged his behavior to U.S. authorities. For now, the FBI has not revealed an exact motive and is in the early stages of its investigation. Still, former President Trump is blaming Democrats, telling Fox News that the gunman acted on President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris's rhetoric and inflammatory language. Though he went on to say they were the ones that are destroying the country and are, quote, the real threat. And as you know, this was the second attempt on Trump's life in a matter of weeks. Now, President Biden and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer want Congress to boost funding for the Secret Service so it has more resources. And it's possible it could be added to a spending bill that Congress must pass before the end of this month. But some Republican leaders say they're not convinced money is the problem here, that perhaps the agency just needs to shift more of its current resources to Trump. So, to be continued. U.S. officials are urging Israel not to pursue a wider war in the Middle East, but it seems tensions are only rising. Israel's military and security cabinet are ramping up preparations for a war against the powerful militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon. The two have been trading fire almost every day since Hamas attacked Israel and the war in Gaza began 11 months ago. Now, the Israeli defense minister has reportedly told U.S. officials that military action is the only way to end months of cross-border violence and return displaced citizens to their homes. The violence has forced tens of thousands of civilians on both sides of the Israel-Lebanon border to evacuate. And it's not just Hezbollah. Houthi rebels out of Yemen fired a missile into central Israel over the weekend. It was the longest-range missile to ever hit Israel. U.S. officials had hoped a hostage and ceasefire deal in Gaza would calm down tensions across the Middle East. But it still seems a deal with Hamas is far off. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is headed back to the Middle East today to push for more ceasefire negotiations. Torrential rain is having an impact all around the world. Some of the heaviest rain in decades hit parts of Central and Eastern Europe, causing flooding and widespread disruption. Several of Europe's historic capitals are impacted, including Vienna, Prague, and more. At least 17 people have died, with more missing from what has been dubbed Storm Boris. Meanwhile, Typhoon Babinka is the strongest to hit the financial hub of Shanghai in decades, bringing China's largest city to a standstill, forcing evacuations, flooding roads, and knocking out power. It's since weakened as it moved inland. And right here in the U.S., a powerful storm system dropped historic amounts of rain in southeastern North Carolina, leading to life-threatening flooding. The storm wasn't quite a tropical storm to be named, but that didn't lessen its impact along the North Carolina coast yesterday. It dropped more than a foot of rain in just over 12 hours, and it took officials, forecasters, and residents by surprise, who called the storm a one-in-a-thousand-year event. Today, flooding is still a concern as the storm moves inland, with warnings in parts of Raleigh and surrounding areas. Remnants of the storm are also expected to move into Virginia and the northern half of South Carolina. All right, we have more news for you still ahead. But first, thanks to our sponsor. We all have those certain items in our closet that we pick over everything else, right? When it comes to leggings and shapewear, Honeylove is my first choice by far. In fact, I wear their Legging 2.0 literally every week. They are stylish, comfortable, have great shaping, they're super soft with a cooling material, and they're convenient with pockets on the sides. And for special events, Honeylove's shapewear is the only one that I will wear. It's effective and comfortable, it doesn't ride up, and it has a bunch of features that makes it more convenient than any other brand. I also love their bras and other essentials. Whether I'm working from home, working out, or attending a special event, Honeylove has me covered. Honeylove is not just supporting women, it's empowering women. Treat yourself to the best bras, shapewear, leggings, and tanks on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/newsworthy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off, honeylove.com/newsworthy, to find your perfect fit. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them we sent you. Elevate your comfort, elevate your style with bras and more that empower your lifestyle of flexibility. Okay, now back to the news. Have you registered to vote in the 2024 elections this November? You may get that question today because it's National Voter Registration Day, America's largest single-day effort to register voters. It's a day of action across the country for all eligible Americans, no matter what political party you belong to. The idea is to raise awareness about where people can register and to reach people who may not have planned to vote at all. Deadlines vary by state, with some requiring you to register weeks in advance and others allowing you to register on Election Day. If you still need to register to vote, check your state's election deadlines or just verify if you're already registered to vote. You can do it all on several nonpartisan websites, including nationalvoterregistrationday.org, vote.org, and whenweallvote.org. And we'll be answering voters' frequently asked questions and talking about voter trends in our special edition Saturday episode this weekend. And by the way, it just so happens today is also Constitution Day. It marks the anniversary of the signing of the most influential document in American history, the Constitution, on September 17th, 1787. Boeing and the union representing 30,000 factory workers are heading back to the negotiating table today to try to end the company's biggest strike since 2008. But in the meantime, Boeing is taking steps to save cash. It announced a hiring freeze, no new purchase orders for 3 of its planes, including the best-selling 737 MAX, and an end to non-essential staff travel. Boeing is also considering furloughs or temporary layoffs in the coming weeks. Remember, Boeing factory workers, mostly in the Seattle area, started walking off the job Friday. They rejected the tentative deal that union leaders and Boeing had come up with. Now analysts have said the strike could cost Boeing as much as $1.5 billion. Its suppliers, as well as its customers, like airlines, could also feel the impact. It all depends on how long this strike lasts, so stay tuned. Lawyers for TikTok have called an effort to ban or force the sale of the popular app an unprecedented attack on free speech. TikTok and the U.S. Justice Department are battling it out in a federal appeals court in a landmark case that could determine the platform's fate in America. Remember, TikTok's future is hanging in the balance ever since Congress passed a law in April that said TikTok's Chinese owner, ByteDance, must sell its stake by mid-January or else be banned in the U.S. nationwide. The court is set to rule whether it's constitutional to force the sale of the app, used by about 170 million Americans. The federal government argues Chinese ownership basically allows TikTok to function like a free propaganda tool, and that the law serves crucial national security interests. TikTok, on the other hand, says Congress skated around First Amendment requirements to pass the law in the first place, and that plenty of other companies are owned by foreign entities but don't face laws banning them. Some reports say the 3-judge panel seemed skeptical of TikTok's fight, but other analysts say it's not clear how they'll rule, since they asked tough questions of both sides. TikTok and the government are asking for a ruling by December, though. Legal experts expect the losing side wants time to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court before a potential ban is supposed to take effect in January. To be continued. Apple has released its new operating system, iOS 18. Though it doesn't have the AI features the company highlighted in its recent launch event. The tech giant says it will roll out Apple Intelligence gradually, starting in October with support for AI features. But even without artificial intelligence, iOS 18 still offers some new tools. One major one will affect Android users as well. Yes, Apple has finally made it possible to send and receive high-quality media when texting with Android phones. Apple says no more blurry photos and choppy videos when you want to send them to a friend with an Android, though their messages will still show up as green bubbles on the text screen. Also coming with iOS 18, more customizable icons and more control over the home screen. New iPhone 16 models come with iOS 18 already, and anyone with an iPhone 11 or later can download the free update. But only new iPhones and the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max will work with the AI features when they roll out. Apple Watch users, there's a new operating system for you as well, watchOS 11. It comes with several health-related updates, including the ability to track sleep apnea, which the FDA approved just yesterday. Some new robots could be coming to a Chipotle near you, prepping your guac and burrito bowls. The fast casual chain said one of its new robots can break down avocados in just 30 seconds. And that one even has a fun name, Autocado. Another robot can assemble burrito bowls and salads, though its name is simply Augmented Make Line. And this one will also handle digital orders, which Chipotle says are mostly bowls and salads anyway. But not everyone is excited about this. As you might expect, some analysts say the robots may lead to lost jobs. For now, the two robots are part of a pilot program in 2 of Chipotle's California locations only. But if they work out, they could show up in other parts of the country, too. Well, that's it for the main news today. So now it's time for Trivia Tuesday, when we ask a different trivia question every week. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor. Have you ever felt that searching for the right doctor is like a bad Mad Libs? You need a blank specialist who takes blank insurance, who is within blank miles of you, who has an appointment within blank amount of time, who can actually help you with blank issue, and on and on and on. It's not fun. ZocDoc makes it easier, though, to fill in those blanks, filter through all the options, and find what you need faster. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. Whenever I need a new doctor, I check ZocDoc. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Trivia Tuesday. So we just saw a reunion of some Saturday Night Live cast members at the Emmys over the weekend. So today's trivia question is, what year did the comedy sketch TV show SNL debut? You can play along with us in our weekly roundup email that comes out each Friday. Simply sign up to get it at thenewsworthy.com/email. As for last week's trivia question, who was the only U.S. president whose first language was not English? The answer is Martin Van Buren. America's 8th president actually grew up speaking Dutch. He was also the first president not born under the rule of an English king. Van Buren came from Kinderhook, New York, where Dutch colonizers had settled and continued to speak their native language when Van Buren was born in 1782. There were several languages spoken in what became the United States, including dozens spoken by native peoples, which is why the Founding Fathers never declared an official language for the new nation. And though there have been several laws proposed in the centuries since the Revolutionary War, America still has no official language, though obviously English is the most widely used, and some states designate English as the official language. Today, Martin Van Buren is still the only president whose first language was not English. Well, thank you so much for listening and making us part of your everyday routine. We'll be back tomorrow with more news you need to know. Until then, have a great day.